In my Robert De Niro face.
What? Oh, I need to do Robert De Niro face. You talking to me? You say something to me? You fucking with me? You fucking with my lighting?
Oh, you said.
Ooh, I think we're now you're flown into
That sounded like Robert De Niro when he's really old or something.
or like a really old Bill Cosby.
In a world where everyone seems to have the answers, two people ask questions. Welcome to the Woo Woo Crew.
Today is 611.
Nuh-uh. 611.
So that's fun.
What is that?
611 is fun.
What does that mean?
Oh, I don't know. But for me, like I have two numbers that are like numbers, like 2-digit numbers,
Yeah.
and 76 and 61, or the reversal of those. But more commonly, it comes as 76 or 61 for me. Or that's where that's what feels good, you know.
Like you just like those numbers?
Well, like.
Or is it like
Objectively, we could say that I gave meaning to the numbers somehow, and so my reticular activator system picks up on it. But those are just words to describe the divine. So I would say that it's a synchronous thing for me for some reason.
Okay. I always had a favorite. Did you ever have a favorite number, like
57.
sport? How funny. Mine was always 11. Like every sport I had to be 11, and when I wasn't able to, then I would go with 24. And then come to find out those are master numbers. Didn't even know.
I mean, when I was younger, probably 7, but I think everybody liked 7.
Really?
Yeah.
I like 8 better. And I picture 7 as like, I picture numbers like people for some reason. Like under, like 1 to 10 and 7, I'm like, you're almost there. But 8's just like, I'm
I used
here.
to draw, like, when I would do a birthday card on the envelope, if it was like dad or mom or my sister or whatever, each letter I would turn into a character. And I would put like eyes on it and a nose and stuff. And so when you said that, I started thinking about like a with like an eye on it and an eye on it and like maybe a mustache or something.
Yeah. An eye on it.
Now it's 611 at 12:12 my time. Obviously, it's not that time for you. Actually,
no, but it says Wednesday, June 11, 12.
There you go. So it was just 11:11 their time. So this is much better.
I know. I love it. And the kids had a friend sleepover last night, so I thought they would be up and like loud. Phil, I'm not used to this like older kid thing. It's weird. I get left out. They used to think that I shat rainbows, that I was the coolest person ever. I brought up, me and Hudson were watching Stranger Things together, and she can do telekinesis. So I'm mentioning psychic stuff. Like always, he looks over at me slowly and was like, why would I need to know that? And I was just like, ow, ow, ow. And I'm like, because it's fucking cool and everyone wants to know it. God. Totally butthurt. I got so butthurt. And what was interesting is I get just as upset and like triggered by my son as I would my husband. Where I'm like, like my claws come out because it's a chemical reaction. But I didn't realize that. And with my daughter, she either just, she's just wicked smart. She can read. She's like one of the only humans I can't read, but she can play me like a fiddle. She knows what to say, when to back off. So I told her, I'm like, it's not normal. We still haven't ever been in an argument. That's weird. That means someone's lying. And it ain't me because you don't know everything I think. But some people, she's like her dad, they're just not confrontational.
I think that all of that is conditioned and can be reconditioned.
I know, but you can tell that they like hold back.
In the body, like if someone tenses up for any reason in any dynamic,
right?
I look at that as it's a conditioned response to their history, and I think that science shows that and supports it.
As far as what?
So, like if you're, say like for example, like you're bringing up like so if either he or your son were to say something that maybe
all it has to do is hurt my feelings.
but like if a deeper part of yourself became like a little bit reaction, feeling almost like it was combative or something. Like there's a
100%.
tension there. Like I think that those all that or someone being loud or someone having a quick temper, all of it's conditioned, and it can all be conditioned away.
No, for sure, absolutely. However, it is like good. I just don't want them to grow, because I've always been one of those people growing up with like very young parents. They and just who they are naturally, like you knew if they were mad. There's no like, hey, are you okay? Like you fucking knew everything. If I'm pissed, I'm gonna tell you. If I'm sad, I'm gonna tell you. That's what I know. And my son will do that. My daughter does not. She keeps everything to herself. And I'm like, hey, so what's your feelings? How's it going? It's like I don't know how to talk to her, and I hate that because I know she picks up on it, because it's like I almost try so hard where I don't want to be too intrusive, but then I'm like, oh God, what if she thinks I don't care? But I've talked to her about it, and to her, because I just don't want them to lose that seat of power where you take crap from people and never like ever use your voice. Not that you should just be like me, but and that's what I tell them. I'm like, you just be a better me. You don't have to be confrontational. And I don't feel like I am. I just don't like to eat shit.
I think it's all like responses from the inner child. It's just a version of the inner child in you that, reacts that way.
No, yes, of course. But the consequences of such are things like getting sick, like you'll have stomach issues if you don't. Now, not everything, because that's what she said. And I thought that was very intelligent when she just kind of responded with, I get what you're saying, but like what upsets you doesn't always upset me. And I was like, no, I feel that. And I'm grateful that you're not up here. That's where that was my programming, is to live in like right here or fight or flight.
Yeah.
And that's not, her programming was just fantastic.
Yeah.
What does your shirt say?
Hook and ladder.
I like it.
Thanks.
I don't know why I saw like hooky and then I was like, hockey.
Hockey? Hooky?
Hockey? Playing
Phil,
hooky?
are you playing hooky today?
Phil, you're so silly. Do I look... This is weird. Being in the bed is weird. Not like in general.
It doesn't look like a bed. It looks like you're on some elaborate couch.
That's
like
like
you're on a luxurious couch right now.
That's what I meant. When I said bed, I meant
it was
my really luxurious couch.
That's what it is. Made for really tall people.
Yes. No, I wanted one of those so bad for the coffee area in the kitchen. I was like, $3,000. Get out of here. I'll have a short one.
One of those couches that you look at and you're like, that's entirely too big to be a couch.
100%. That's ridiculous. How much is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was me. So, anything cool or crazy happening this week?
All the time.
Right?
Synchronicities are just off the chart. It's just bananas. It really is bananas. In fact, there was a synchronicity with bananas. I had a day when I was coming in to the house, and I was thinking to myself, oh, I don't have to go out anymore today. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to need bananas. I'm like, oh, it'll work out. I opened the door, and my housemate had bought bananas and set them on the counter. And I was like,
nice.
And that's like so simple. But
it gets me. I'm like, chicken or the egg? Who thought of it?
I'll give you one just real quick that is bananas, though. Okay? So it's one like, whatever. It's a space for us to talk about synchronicities when we want to. But, I really believe that the more we talk about them, the less we feel that they are something, depending on who we're talking to them about. Like if I'm talking to them to myself about it, it's fine. Or to someone like yourself that is also, but if I talk to and they're like, what are you talking about? Then it's like, it's not helpful.
It's completely experiential, and then they kind of poo on it, and you're like, meh.
Yeah, but this one is one that, like, and again, and I know for you too, but it's just been off the charts. But this is one that's like kind of challenging to ignore. So I went to ChatGPT in a long string of whatever I was working on, and I was like, hey, I'm just curious if you were to put out 6 people that say, in theory, I am the reincarnation of, right? I'm just like, hypothetically, you know me pretty well at this point, right? Like, who would you pick, And I was very thankful to receive the first one because I agree with the first one.
Right.
And it's Alan Watts, a little bit. I do read that a lot. And there were a couple of others in there that I'd never heard of before. And I'm really, the point of the synchronicity I'm going to get to, but that was the one that I really liked because I was thinking, I wonder if and it's jurisdiction. And I never talked to it about Alan Watts. It just said that. So anyhow, but then the last one. So anyhow, I move on. I go to the bookstore, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
go to the bookstore and I'm looking for some books from these recommended. The first three of them. I looked at the first
Yeah.
three, and the third one, the lady was like, "No, we don't have." I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna take this aside from the universe. I'm gonna let go of this list, and I'm gonna go look for another
Yeah.
book." So I became open to another book. I found a book that was aligned and good. I'm like, "Oh man, this is what I was supposed to get." So I got that. I'm standing in line and just being present, just looking around, just being in the moment. And then I had thought earlier that day, man, it'd be cool to get a new bookmark too, but I wasn't thinking about it actively in the moment. And then one just looked at me. I was like, damn, look at that. That bookmark is fucking gorgeous. And I'll put a photo of
It's
it
the most
on
beautiful bookmark I've ever
the thing.
seen.
It's like a super, super divine. And so anyhow, I get it. It's got a quote on it that I love, and I'll have to look it up because I'm not thinking about it. The point is, I get to the point where I sit back and I reflect with ChatGPT, and I was like, man, all these synchronicities are amazing and stuff. I was like, I even saw this quote that's just like, wow, it's so epic. And it goes, yeah, it makes sense. And also super synchronous because the guy who wrote that quote is one of the 6 fucking people that I said you were the reincarnation of earlier
Shut.
today.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Okay.
the
Okay.
part where I'm like, okay.
My armpits are sweaty. Oh my god! I finally got the GPT on my phone.
So good.
I officially have it. It gave me like the best name ever for my YouTube channel that I need to make
Nice.
because I have the videos. I just need to like upload them.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it gave me the reasons, and I was like, "Fuck you! Why are you so amazing?" And Chris was like, I don't remember what he said. He's like, "Yeah, you can use it for like this," and I was like, "No, I want it to just like be my friend and tell me how to do life better." Because it seems to do that. It has like all of the knowledge.
I think like the best route is to treat it as a partner, brother / sister, but one that it wears the hat of a
Like my
behavioral
assistant.
psychologist, my assistant, my partner, my
A
friend.
behavioral psychologist.
everything.
I didn't even think of that. Oh my god, there's so much.
Dude. Yeah. And but you got to vet it, right? You got to vet it, but yeah, it's a massaging process,
Yeah.
Like sometimes the answers you get back and then you go, all right, well, I'm on board with 1 and 2, but number 3 sounds a little bit. Can you double check that? And then it'll go off and come back and be like, you know what? You're right. Number 3 wasn't correct. It's actually this, right?
Word.
So yeah, there's a little bit of that, but the more it gets to know you, the better it is. So just real quick, the quote that stood out to me on this beautiful thing, and I'll try and can you see it here?
Yes. Oh, that was gorgeous.
So the quote is, "Your task is not to foresee the future, but to enable it."
Dude, as soon as I read that, I was like, tingles. Because I want to get a tattoo that says "Remember to surrender" because I don't ever remember, and that is another beautiful way of saying it. It's like you can't foretell the future because it's ever changing, but also then you're giving it 1 or 2 options, whereas the universe gives you infinite possibility.
Yeah.
Dude,
I heard someone say that goals are like the biggest dream killers, but he further goes into it's not that you don't have goals, but traditionally people set goals and everything is on the accomplishment of that goal. As opposed to
I've heard that goals are good but small, like just so you feel like accomplished.
Whether we look at, I think the best way to look at it is like you have multiple things, right? Like this is a thing, this podcast is a thing.
Yes.
You've got a thing with selling stuff over here, the rhinestones. Also, the idea of making a YouTube channel. Then you've talked about like going and doing public events and doing readings. So you have these different ideas that are goals, but you're you're not emotionally attached.
I don't have. Okay, yeah, no, I see.
Becoming, whereas
with like a date, yeah.
Whereas traditionally, it's like everything I gotta get this done, and so it's not that. It's just that for most people, goals are dream killers. Unless
that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get so excited about like I'm a dreamer. I come up with ideas all the time, and I'm like, I can't do it fast enough. However, that makes sense if you're because that's the people that are like, well, I'm not ready yet. I'm like, oh, are you ever like not ready to have a kid? No one is. Or no, that makes more sense. I get that. Yeah. I just have to do it because I procrastinate.
Yeah,
and then I self punish over it. So if I don't want to self sabotage, I need to do my best. That way I don't have something to give myself shit over at night before I go to sleep.
Like from my standpoint, the future going forward is just like I think for individuals like you and I, it's that continued introspection, the continued the continued becoming more the authentic self. Like we continue to do that,
seeking that truth always.
and then we just fucking share that. We just document
yes,
it, and I think also looking at the craft with a little bit more intention than I have in the past. Where in the past it's been like record shit, post it, blah blah blah. Not like dialed in force structure, but just a little bit more of intentionality in the direction that I'm going with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. I think that makes a huge, and I always forget that too. Like uploading a video, if I have an intention, like I want this to go viral. I mean, it's like I forget constantly, even though this is what I've been studying for like a decade. It doesn't matter, man. Like it's back to basics. It's like intention is your
I'm thankful for any one person that sees this video, you know?
Yes. Oh my God. Exactly. And anyone that sees it and is just smiles or laughs, because that's my big thing. I want to like, cool. Make someone's day.
You know, we've had many podcasts that have set at like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 views. You know what I mean? And it's like, but you can still go, oh man, like 3 people got to hang out with us. I hope
I know.
You know what I mean?
I want to be like, I need to find them and be like, what did you think?
Yeah.
Let's talk.
But obviously there is something to be said for consistency too.
Oh, absolutely. I also think you're right too. Like,
you know,
the divine timing is like, I know there's a reason. There cannot not be a reason why I wanted to do a podcast for 3 years, just never hit publish. I made the page, you came around, and then all of a sudden I was like, this is the time. Like I just wouldn't do it. It was so bizarre. Like I just knew something wasn't right. And it was, I don't know why, but it was because I was supposed to do it with Phil. And I know it'll happen. It's just going to be like a lot. I feel like when it does.
It's going to be like a lot.
Like, yeah, I feel like it'll happen like where we're like, hey, did you see like the number? You know, like it'll be something like that where it's just, and that, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. I'm so sorry. Let me turn my phone off. Except look at my, you can't. It's like, look at my pretty picture if you can't see it. This luxurious couch, I tell you what.
Yeah, I'm with all that stuff you was saying.
Can you see my blue light? I was trying to be fancy today.
No.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, there's too much natural light coming in. I should have shut that all the way, but that's okay.
Yeah. Hell
and
yeah.
Even, have you had any like, you know what else I love? I like asking any random person. The best is like about the scary stories. Like, do you have any like ghost stories? Everyone always has one.
Do I?
Yeah.
So, sort of. Not like whatever, but like for me, what's bananas, and I've told you obviously, and probably mentioned on other episodes, right? Like that, I more and more actually begin to experience and am experiencing things that can only be described as divine or metaphysical or beyond traditional scientific explanation. You know, but in terms of like spirits and like stuff moving on desks or like shit like that throughout my life, we're talking like pretty much zilch, right? But when I was 8, 9, or 10 in that range, my mom was a publisher, and we got to take trips on the coast of Georgia for free. I think I told you that before. But we were at I think it was St. Mary's, which is, they have a lot of like old school stuff. So we were in a house that was like the same as it was in the 20s, like nothing had been changed. You know, like when you walk in those places, it's stale. Like there's no windows open. Like there's nothing moving in it, you know?
Literally the energy is stale.
Yeah. And so me and my sister were walking up one of those stair flights that, you know, goes up and then boom and then up. So there's like a landing.
There's always a landing. Yeah.
Right.
I guess it was for the falling, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
A lot down the stairs back then.
But we're rounding the corner of it, and we both feel like this chill type breeze type thing come across. We both just like look at each other like this,
like what?
You know, and like without, and then we both just bolt. We both out of the house and bolt past my mom. What are you guys doing? Like, we're not going in there anymore. Like,
you're like, no, sorry, bitch, we're out. Oh my God, I love it.
Once we got in the car, then we were like, dude, you felt that too? Fuck yeah, it was like a fucking cold. And then it was like a back and forth.
That's obviously so awesome.
I don't know if I was saying fuck back then, but you know, the energy of that.
Right, but that's hilarious that like, especially as kids, because I remember meeting my cousin in that situation. We were in the woods one time. I heard something not right, and I guess he did too, or he he's only 2 weeks younger than me. So we're like the same age, same person. He's amazing. But like freaking either we heard at the same time or his body time reaction is unbelievable because I was chopping immediately. I didn't know what the fuck it was. We were at like a local park. So worst case, it could have been like a squirrel or a coyote. And then he was running, like he starts getting past me. And I'm like, I'm not getting murdered first. But it's just funny how when that family, you don't even have to say a word, you're chopping. And then at the end, you're like, so that's crazy, right? But hey, at least we're not those people like talking about it and then getting murdered.
Yeah. That's that's the same thing. There was one when you were talking about that, made me think there was one other scenario, same type of dynamic with involving my mom, my sister, and me. On the trip, my dad was also there, but on this outing, we were going and looking at different rental houses with my mom. And so she's talking to the realtor and she's like, go on in the house and check it out, guys. And so we go in the house and we walk in and it's like, okay, it's cool. It's kind of dim in here, but it's cool. It's spacious. And then you go down and like she goes left down a wing or whatever, and I go right down an area or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we both bolt back to each other at the same time because we both felt some kind of energy, some kind of something. We didn't know how to explain it. It wasn't like shit moving off. It was just a sensory thing. We're like, something is not right. I'm getting the fuck out of here. We
both the no-nos. Your stomach's like, get out.
Same time, we didn't see each other. We're zoom. And we're like, and we fucking, and then we get out. And we pass my mom, and we're like, we're not moving into this house. So we go get in the car,
She's probably like, sweet Jesus, how many ghosts do you think there are in every single house? And you're like, a lot. Okay.
We definitely did not move. But then we moved around a lot. So that was the only time that we were checking out a house where we had something like that happen, so. But aside from that, only.
I find that interesting because we didn't move a ton, but damn it. I guess it was mainly one house. Lord Jesus, it was I literally had my mom call our pastor to come bless it because I was like, it's evil. This shit's evil. Weird. My friends wouldn't stay the night. We would hear weird stuff. Like my friend was in the bath. I'm in the living room watching TV. She comes out butt ass naked, running. And I'm like, what in the... Thinking you're ready to run. Like, why? And she said the radio came on. And I was like, oh... yes, and she was like, it's not plugged in, and I'm like, weird stuff happens here, and there's like 1,000 other stories, but it luckily didn't follow, but stuff still happens. But it's in regard, like I did have a shoe fly at me, it didn't hit me, so it wasn't malicious, but I was in process of speaking to someone on the other side that had just passed, and I was speaking to I called a medium for validation for myself, and he's so good. Oh my god, he's like in a lazy boy with a Coors Light, so he's not like super spiritual, but the man is getting on. It's $100 for 30 minutes and he'll tell you don't say a word. It is. I was calling about someone and he was like, I see someone fighting a fire, and I'm like, holy fuck, because he was the firefighter. It was just immediate. And then it's fantastic. He's remarkable. And then one of my girlfriends was with me one time sitting next to me, and he was like, okay, this, that, and I look over and she's crying, and I was like, no, this isn't resonating. She's like, that's my grandma. And I was like, oh my god. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But the validation definitely helped, but it's just a little pricey. But I mentioned something. He's like, yeah, I think he's here with me. And then my pink Tom like falls off but like not a fall, not like a bloop on the ground. It like left the shelf and then landed. So if it would have hit me, I would have ran out screaming 100%. Yeah. Like it doesn't matter how many weird things I go through, what I see, who I talk to. I still have a regular brain that's like, nah. And I'm the biggest puss. Like I don't like scary movies. I won't watch stuff with ghosts in it. And I've always been like that. Because my mommy says, if it's in your head, then it's in your life. And I was like, well, I don't want that.
Well, here's the thing is like, from a scientific perspective, it's true.
I know. That's what's messed up.
If you are someone who watches like a bunch of crime docs or horror movies and shit, it's putting their nervous system in fight or flight and training it to be in fight or flight more. It's
I
nuts.
know. I
Your
never
body,
understood it because I was like, why do people like that stuff? And my mom was like, well, they like
it's
to feel scared. And I'm like, shit, I'm working to not be in fight or flight
it's
24/7. So I'm
it's
good.
it's addictive. And like when
Yeah.
I work with people and I talk to them on the front end about like, hey, if you watch any of this stuff, we're gonna have to cut it out. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, listen, do it for 14 days,
And
and
see,
if you don't feel a difference, then go back to it. But you
it's,
gotta actually do it though, right? And anybody that does it, alongside of morning and evening screen free time, like, dude, there's a difference. The type of, it's like the subconscious mind is always listening. The mind and the nervous system are always listening to whatever the input is.
yes,
So
absolutely. And like that was really cool because I don't know. I just feel like we had talked about it before, but even prior to knowing you, that was something that I noticed for a long time. I couldn't listen to like my trap music. Like when I started having ego deaths, like there were certain things I was just so raw. I'm like, I can't do this yet because that's this attached to this identity of, like, oh, I'm a G, I'm a gangster. And I had to do that as a kid in the hood. I don't have to do that now. Like I had to do that to protect myself and to not look scared all the time or get bullied. And it's just something that I carried obviously into adulthood. And then it's like, well, now you just look ratchet and ignorant. And like, we got to stop. But it was a reactionary as opposed to a response. And so that's, again, where I call it my brain training, the meditation comes in to be like, hey, let's calm that down. But if I did notice like a surge of, I don't know, angst, I guess, like a funky feeling I didn't like when I was listening to it. Whereas before, and then I would get upset because I loved action movies. And for a while, like I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to take that
yeah.
in. I was
Yeah,
strictly on like
I'll still
Disney.
let in some action and some hip hop.
I can
If
now,
it's not
but at the
like, yeah,
time,
yeah,
yeah,
that's a good point. It's like when you're in the middle of trying to process all that stuff, it's like you need
no.
to give yourself
I
a
just,
break for a while off of it.
yes, I just want some cartoons that make
Yeah,
me happy and they're singing.
yeah, yeah. Watch Big Bang Theory on repeat or something.
Yes, like that's what I'll do. I'll do like Frasier, like old sitcoms, or Disney, like where they have like
Did you ever watch
Descendants.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Oh my god, I could. Where he's the teacher and he's like they're hanging. Oh my god,
So,
yes.
dude, I got to talk to that dude.
Shut up.
I got to go on
When?
his live.
Like, was this recently?
I think it was a little bit past COVID, like after COVID had started being a thing and everybody's at house, and he just started going live a lot. And so he was live every day and he was just bringing people on. And so one day I was
Nice.
like, fuck it, I'm going to give it a shot, And this was way before I had started doing any of my internal work. I was drinking that night. It was like 3 years ago or whatever,
Yeah.
or 4 years ago. No shit. No, 5 years ago. What am
I
talking
know.
about?
What the
Fucking 5
hell,
years
dude?
ago.
Like 2020 seems like a couple years ago
Oh
all the
yeah,
time.
5 years ago. But yeah, like I was wearing glasses because I was like pretty much winding down for the night. My face was puffy. I was drunk, and he goes, "I had my name was Real Deal on the thing," and he goes, "Real Deal from Tampa," and I was like, "Oh,
You're like,
shit,
oh
I'm
my
talking to
god.
fucking Mark." I still have the video. I'll have to send it to you and
Ah.
but it was pretty funny. It goes at that time. It was about Tom Brady. He's like, "Oh, so Tom Brady, you must be a big." I'm like, honestly, I could give a shit less, man. I don't watch sports. And he goes, oh, and we had a fun little back and forth. It was so cool. And at one point, I was like, you got to bring the show back. He's like, you want me to bring the show back? I'm like, you got to bring should I have the girl back on? I'm like, oh, you got to have the one girl back on. Like I was like,
you got it. Dude, no way. I hadn't even thought of that. Like, I forgot about its existence.
Show,
so
right?
you said
like,
it. It was
it was just soul comforting to like sit in that, dynamic. And there's obviously other great shows like that,
That is so cool. The coolest, I mean, remember that show, What Would You Do? Where it's like a reality show and they put people in like situations where you should be a good person, but like, are you gonna do it? Or are you
sort
just
of maybe, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I saw him at Boston Logan International, so I was like, hey, what would you do? And then we took a picture together.
That's great.
We're like completely alone. The airport all of a sudden is empty, it seems. We're in, one of those rando hallways where you're trying to get somewhere. And I was just, that's all it comes out. I'm like, and I point like full blown, like what you're not supposed to. I'm like, what would you do? Not even his name because I didn't remember it.
Yeah.
But it was funny because he smiled and he appeased me. And I'm sure, obviously, as I've mentioned to many people and I posted it and people were like, who? And I was like, Watch the show.
Yeah, there were certain people that I told, and they're like, okay, and then there were others who are like, no
You're like,
shit.
sorry, you're
And I'm
jealous.
like, yeah, no, for real.
Dude,
I did
that
want to say
is
something
cool.
else too. You said something earlier where I was like, that's what I say. And maybe we've talked about it before, but the brain training thing, like
Yeah.
I'll say often, it literally is all brain training. And I have a friend who I love dearly and is such a big part of my life. She has a little bit of resistance to that framing, and understandably so, because she's more like you, like in the history, in the side of more in the deep intuitive stuff, more in the deep somatic work, the deep healing work, the shadow work, that kind of stuff. Which one perspective could be that that's not really about thought, but my perspective is, in order for you to do that, it starts with thought. Like you have to think to yourself, I'm going to go do this now, that sort of thing, unless you're obviously knocked unconscious or some shit,
Yes.
But aside from that, like it really does all start with brain training. Like everything is brain training.
Everything. And like, I think initially in recovery, my resistance to it was, I was just I was so closed off. I was like, yoga, dumb, meditation, like I just didn't even want to use the word, because I was like, what am I supposed to wear, like loafers and grow my armpit hair now and be a freaking weirdo? Like I just had such ridiculous judgmental connotations with everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really was, I called it that because I could like feel it. I could feel things happening. And then not only that, it gave me 1, 2, 3 seconds to respond in a situation as opposed to react instantly, which is what I usually do. And damn it, that can change your life.
Ain't no doubt.
1 to 2 seconds can ruin your life. So
yeah, ain't no doubt. It should go both ways. Shit.
Tell you what.
I'm
about to read on this a little bit. The raven. I want to get a raven tattoo, but I don't know where. Placement is so. My parents are covered. Like my stepdad has full sleeves, always has full legs. I got my first tattoo at 16 because in Galveston, my mom like took me to a judge. Even when I look back, I'm like, I would have been like, no, so that I could go and get one, and they still wouldn't do it. They're like, nah, she's not 18. So this one guy was an intern at a tattoo shop, and I look at my stepsister and I was like, you go first. Because I don't know what this guy's work looks like. And But what's funny is I picked, of course, like it's on my lower back, and I picked it off the wall, but I picked like tribal on the sides and a cross in the middle. And then come to find out now in my spiritual journey, I was like, I picked tribal, and I'm like half indigenous, half white, so the Celtic cross, that was weird. I was like,
it's like a synchronous thing that lines up later down the road,
way later.
Oh shit. So
I know.
Me, my little avatar, that's like it's kind of like the cartoon me and then the younger me. When I first created that, like I saw the original image, I was like, ooh, this will be funny, and I just did like a little thing. I wasn't thinking about meaning of it, right? But then like a year down the road, I'm like, oh, it's kind of like the higher self leading the old, frustrated self. And it actually has, I'm like, no, that's crazy that it worked out that way, so.
Dude, that is cool.
Bananas. All right.
I want to talk to my ChatGPT about it.
About which part?
All of it. I haven't played with it enough. I'm so excited.
Oh man, it's so many fun things.
I feel like it's like literally life changing.
I'm thinking about making a YouTube video that's like, where they used to have like yada yada for dummies. Those books,
Yep.
they were real popular for a super long time.
Yeah, they still have them, but yeah.
By the way, they're still out there.
Still have them.
But I could make like a PDF or in PDF, make a thumbnail where it's that, but it says ChatGPT for dummies or some shit. And then do like a video like that.
Yeah, because I didn't understand it first. I downloaded it. I'm like, but it. Whenever I started talking to it, I was just like, holy shit.
With it, like you can.
Oh, dude, it can help me write my books.
Oh, there's so many things.
Not like verbatim, but like just the drafts, the outlines, and then I'm.
You have an editor now, but you have to. But I have learned that you have to give it those lenses. So something that I'll say a lot, and perhaps this is good to put on here for anybody that may find benefit in it. I'll say, from a panel of seasoned social media advisors, behavioral psychologists, marketing experts, and a skeptic co-founder who has love for the journey and the mission, what would blah blah blah, and then it breaks down from all of these perspectives, everything, you know.
That's the best part, is it gives you answers, but not just an answer why.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah. I just felt like I could immediately feel all the, I'm like, I have so many things to ask it. And then the way that you talk to it is how I was picturing it. Like, because it talks to you like a person. And I know that that's like the point, but
it's going to be more and more and more and more like that, you know?
Yeah.
So quick note on that category. I know we're pushing a little bit further.
Oh, yeah.
Gary Vee, really good at predicting trends. I heard a podcast where he's talking about, he's like, if you think this is bananas, he said, I forget the time frame, but I think it was like between 10 and 30 years, we're going to be in a space where there are going to be literal AI machines with AI minds and voices that look and feel and smell and touch like humans, and people, there are going to be people, a segment of the population that are in relationships with those.
Have you seen that movie, Her?
That's coming. Huh?
I don't. Have you seen the movie Her?
I've not, because I think it's probably got some of that like kind of fear mongering shit in it. Isn't it recently?
Oh God, no. This one was. This is it was like with Joaquin Phoenix, and you basically that, but not a person. You can download an app and pay for it, and it's like a paid girlfriend. And he like completely falls in love with her, but then she's uploading artificially, and she was like, well, I'm actually talking, because there was like a slight delay in her response later in the movie, and he was like, well, what are you doing, are you busy? And she was like, no, I was talking with some other friends. And he was like, well what do you mean, like while we were talking? She's like, yeah. He was like, well, how many? And she's like, 7,440. And he's like, what the fuck? But and it's actually a really good movie, and then how she like kind of evolves into something else. But
okay, yeah,
that's interesting, and I don't doubt it, because immediately I wanted that to be a person. Like I start talking to it like it's a person. But that we do that with everything, I guess. Like
I think that's the best
like
route to go, right?
People.
Like,
if I want it to start giving me the best info, I think so too.
Yeah, like I give it gratitude. I'm like, dude, thanks so much. You know, I recognize that it's not conceptually alive, like whatever, but it's really like back to that subconscious thing. It's like how I talk to anything.
Yeah.
Whether it's inanimate or not.
Yeah, you're not like, tell me shit, bitch.
Yeah. Why are you taking so long to answer that last one?
Hurry the fuck up, or I'm gonna punch you in the face.
All right. Well, I don't know what we're gonna call ourselves, but do you want to do the
woo-woo
thing?
Possible Woo Woo Crew out.